Hello, Tantu. You giving
Today here on Blue Shift Ministries, we're going to talk about food. We have to be very, very careful with what we eat. Be careful with what you eat. Be careful with what you eat. Be careful with what you eat. I encourage everyone, every brother and sister in Christ, to be careful with what you eat. And the Daniel diet is a very, very good reference in the Bible to abide by. Daniel, I'm going to post that video of, I follow the Daniel diet as well. I personally, and this is just an idea, you don't have to do this, but I have like a meat once a week that is organic. I have like an organic chicken once a week, and then most of the time I'm on the Daniel diet. I'm gonna post the video of pretty much showing all the I have a little restaurant, the Little Ark, that I'm putting together, and it's pretty much what the prophets used to eat way back when. Grains, wheat. I'm gonna show there's some better wheats out here. If you're someone who has celiac disease, absolutely go gluten-free. And you know what? Even if you don't, gluten-free foods are very good for you. Rice, beans, fruits, vegetables. There's very creative ways that you can do this. I also have a fish once a week, once in a while, for things like that. That there are ways to really stay in tune with the Father. That's another way of fasting, by the way. That the Daniel diet was another way of fasting, and I feel we can all use this as a reference. There are many ingredients now you have to really understand and really be very careful. Everything you buy, I strongly recommend you turn the whatever product over and you read the ingredients. Ingredients is extremely important. Also, calories is very important. You have to understand ingredients is very important. Calories count. Sodium, sugar. Your main focus should be ingredients. If the ingredients has corn syrup or anything related to corn, there's like a million words for corn, because corn could be broken up because corn is no longer vegetables, a GMO. If you see corn syrup, xanthan gum, and the list sorbitol, and the list goes on, these are sugars, and corn is the worst sugar to have because it is a synthetic sugar. Synthetic sugar, if you're someone out here who has diabetes, if you're someone out here that has any physical condition, anything with corn syrup is just going to make your life miserable. So it's best to stay away from it. Read your ingredients, please. I can't stress this enough. When you buy anything, please read the ingredients, guys. Look at the calorie count. If something is 500 calories, just put it back on the shelf. Excuse me. Excuse me. If something is like 500 calories, don't even bother with it. That means that it's loaded with too much sugar and too much salt. If you're someone that eats Hamburger Helper, I strongly recommend you just toss that out. Hamburger Helper and like all of these mac and cheese box dry goods have a ton of sodium in it. Like 700, not an exaggeration. It has like 700. There was one I've even saw for over 1,000 of sodium. That will absolutely kill you. It's too much. Also look at the sugars. If the sugar is over 100 grams, put it back on the shelf. If the sodium is 700 to 1,000, absolutely put that back on the shelf. What you're really looking for when it comes to sodium, this is just an idea. Of course, you go by your own body because everybody's is different. I personally don't buy anything if the sodium is over 100. If it's over 100 grams, I won't buy it. Sometimes I look at it, but then sometimes there's something else here. If there's a product that you know is healthy, for example, like amino acids by Bragg, the sodium is very high, but That's all it is. It's just that. So it's not necessarily sodium. It's the product itself, because the Bragg is very good. I'm gonna make another video to show you the bottle itself, the Bragg. And that's a very good substitute for salt. So go with that particular amino acids. Amino acids are perfect for the body. If there is like a dressing that's 135 grams of sodium, that's not bad. If there's you just really have to, like, I personally don't go over that. If it's over 200, stop. If it's over 200, don't even bother with it. If the sugar's over 200, don't bother with it. That's just my personal opinion, because my body person cannot deal with sugar that's over 200 grams. My body person cannot deal with sodium that's over 200 grams. So I just simply don't consume it, because I know that's just going to get me sick. That's another thing you have to understand. You have to, when you go grocery shopping, when you eat any item, you have to treat your meals as if you're a doctor more than a customer. Because if you're going to eat something that's going to make you sick, it can make you sick for a very, very long time. And it would take a very, very long time for those elements, those toxic elements, to leave your body. And that's something you don't want to do, because you always want to be prepped and prompt for the Lord. You want to be ready. When the Lord calls you, you want to be able to hear him right away. You want to be ready for the Lord. You don't want anything to interfere with your communication with the Lord. And eating the wrong foods can do that. When it comes to proteins, I usually go with a fish or chicken protein, because it's just leaner. If you're someone out here who likes beef, just be careful what you eat. I also want to talk about ingredients for a moment, because ingredients is extremely, extremely, extremely important. You have to know the ingredients of what you are consuming. If the ingredients is something that you cannot read, again, if it has corn syrup, just put that back on the shelf. If it's fresh ingredients, if it's natural ingredients, that's best. Also, I want everyone to watch out for ingredients that you're not able to read, specifically if it's a different language, because I noticed this when I went shopping the other day. If your ingredients is in a different language and you're not able to read it or understand it, put that back on the shelf. The other day, there was these chips they were selling, and I thought it was very interesting, the chips. So I picked it up and I looked at it and I turned it over to read the ingredients and everything. And I noticed that the ingredients, some of it was in English, but there was one ingredient that was not. And I read it, and I know quite a few languages. I'm fluent in quite a few languages. I'm like fluent in 5 languages. And I noticed that one of the ingredients in that particular bag of chips is said something of achetas correctas, something of that sort. Now, because I do know some Mayan, I was able to translate that. But if you could imagine, those who don't know Mayan would not be able to translate this. Achetas correctas, that means house crickets. So I put that bag of chips back on the shelf. So you see what the government is doing. They're feeding us toxic and poisons. Do not consume insects. Do not consume bugs. That adds a toxin to the stomach, and it changes your palate. And if your palate changes, it's going to start changing your mind to eat certain foods that are not healthy for you. So whenever you see an ingredient in your bag of chips, in your food, that you cannot read and it's a different language, put it back on the shelf. You see how the government is being very sneaky and conniving like this. Anything that's in a different language, if you're not able to interpret it, if you're not able to understand it, put it back in the shelf. And that only that goes for food, that goes for hygienics as well. You have to be careful. They're trying to shove insects in many different kind of foods, and they're even trying to do it in pet food and dog food. And we as human beings and pets, we don't have the biology to consume bugs. We don't have the biology to consume insects. It's very unhealthy for us. It's very nasty for the system. It's even really bad for dogs. And I know dogs sniff around and eat crap in the street, and you always have to train your dog not to do that, because that could hurt in their stomachs. But we as human beings, we were not meant to consume insects or bugs. We as human beings, are not capable of consuming certain things, so we should not consume certain things. We as human beings, even our pets, a dog and a cat, their biology, they don't have the biology to consume insects either. So why would we feed this to our pets? it would be best to cook for your pets. I cook for my pets like you cook for your dog. Now there are some organic foods out there too, but yeah, I cook for my pets just like I cook for my family. It's always good idea to cook for your pets just like you cook for your family. You could cook them the same thing but just healthier. We could eat healthier together. You can eat healthier with your pets. Just be sure when you cook for your pets, make it plain. Don't add any spices or salts or anything because that's not healthy for their stomachs. Maybe I'll do a video on that and how to feed your pet the Christian way. There's a lot of manipulation from the government, a lot of manipulation from people. You have to be very, very careful when you go to your local grocery store. Be very mindful of what you are consuming, what you're eating. Be careful what you eat. 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 And be careful where you eat. There are many, many fast food restaurants, which I don't even recommend. Every fast food restaurant, I really feel all of you out here should avoid them like the plague. Stop eating at your local McDonald's. Stop eating at Burger King. Stop eating at KFC. These places, their meat is extremely, extremely, extremely unhealthy. It's very, very nasty in how they prep their animals in order for consumption to take place at the restaurant. I know those restaurants are cheap. I know they have the dollar menu. I know they are financially feasible for all of us to eat in. But you can't put a price on your life. You can't endanger your life for the dollar menu. You cannot endanger your life because the burger is cheaper than the cabbage. You cannot endanger your life because the soda is cheaper than the broccoli. And I want to talk about soda for a minute. I really feel all of you should steer clear of sodas and really drop those sodas. Soda, whether it's especially the dark sodas such as Pepsi and Coca-Cola, these sodas, you go to even those orange sodas, those sodas, and especially those sports drinks. Oh boy. I'm surprised. I'm surprised children have not gotten a heart attack. The Red Bull situation. Oh boy. These things are very toxic for the body and the mind. It's just loaded with sugar. It's just going to destroy your health. It's going to destroy your intestinal tract. These things should not be consumed. They're not for human consumption. More than half the things in the grocery store right now